sirens rang out, the city already empty following the battle between the Astartes. An enemy vessel had made planetfall, proof surely of a traitor operative on Morloc Prime. From within poured the foulest of creatures, turning the civilians still present into mindless, bloodthirsty hordes. The shambling horde of pox-ridden walkers crawled towards the Void Stalkers. A young sergeant within a repulsor, finding proof of the traitor's identity, was prevented from leaving by a once proud son, now father of filth. Recovery of the traitor's identity became the only objective now, something Lord Primaris Husfather of the Jocular Scourge would seek to deny. And so began the end.
Hi, this is Nick and Bill from Warzone Morloc. Welcome to Battle Report 3. Here we have the army of the Jocular Scourge. They are very much a work in progress army, so I apologise for the fact that a number of them are not yet painted, however that will change as time goes on. They're led at the front here by Lord Primaris Husfather, the Lord of Contagion. He has a bodyguard of his Death Shroud who come along beside him, and he has numerous characters that join him in the fight, including a foul night spawn, a noxious lightbringer at the back there, and a malignant plague caster who brings the psyche element to the game. There are two squads of plague marines, the Frotting Saw plague marine unit over here who have a large plague cleaver, a plague belcher I think it is, and a blight launcher amongst other things. On top of that you also have another unit over here who are the Heralds of Rust, who are another unit who have a plasma gun amongst their lot, and the champion has a power fist. They have the Chuckling Horde, the Poxwalkers squad of 20 different Poxwalkers in the centre, who form a very important part of basically just a giant meat shield. And on top of that they have the Father of Filth, my Nurgle Knight, that's rather been the reason I haven't been able to paint anything else recently, because I've been so interested in painting him, so he's going to provide a huge amount of firepower, hopefully. Finally, for speed, they also have two feated bloat drones, one with two plague spitters, and one with a flesh mower, because I just think that thing looks amazing. It looks like a giant piece of angry gardening equipment. And in the form of final bit more heavy support, they also have a plague burst crawler as well, so hopefully that provides some of the more damaging firepower from a distance, as it also has entropy cannons on the side, which are basically class cannons. So that is the Jocular Scourge. That'll be the army I'll be wielding today against Bill's fine looking Void Stalkers. Let's see how they do.
2,000 points of Void Stalkers Space Marines of the Primaris variety. So for HQ choice, we have Captain Sagan in his Gravis armour, and we have the two lieutenants, one with the Stalker bolt rifle and the bolt pistol power sword combination. Troops choices, we've got 1, 2 and 3 squads of intercessors, one of which has Stalker bolt rifles and an auxiliary grenade launcher in each squad. We also got 5 Hellblasters there, the 4 aggressors with bolt storm gauntlets and the grenade launchers in their backs. We've got 2 repulsor tanks, the same apart from one has the Gatling cannon on the top, and we have the Redemptive Dreadnought with the plasma cannon, power fist, storm bolter and flamer combination. And lastly, the 3 Inceptors with the heavy bolt pistols over there. So that's 2,000 points of Primaris Space Marines, the Void Stalkers.
Okay, this latest game with Warzone Morloc we played using the open war deck. So you can see the deployment here. Bill will be deploying across the centre of the board with a small gap between us while I deploy across both ends of it. So very much more of an ambush game, or something where I'm trying to sort of take down Bill's force and holding a final stand in the centre. The many paths to victory that we've pulled out of the deck means that there's going to be 2 objective cards to be used rather than just the 1. And those 2 objectives we're going to have are invasion, in which both players roll off, and then starting with the winner, they'll each take it in turn to set up 1 objective marker anywhere in their own deployment zone that's more than 6 inches from an edge. And whoever holds both objectives at any point at the end of their opponent's turn immediately wins. The other objective is going to be kill the courier. The assumption is that there's something held by one single model in each of our armies that's holding something vital. We choose which model once we've set up. And at any point, if we manage to kill the opponent's courier, that is the end of the game. These are the only 2 objectives that will be in this game. We have to kill the courier that we specified at the end of our setting up, and we have to try and take the objectives and hold both of them at the same time. If either one of those things happens, we have won.
Deployment. The invasion has begun. I'll take you through the Void Stalkers deployment. We've got a repulsor here, which contains 5 intercessors and 5 hellblasters. We have an intercessor squad here, holding our objective. And here we have an empty repulsor, with the lieutenant and the captain there in the centre of the board. Over on this side, we've got 5 intercessors with stalker bolt rifles. Got 4 aggressors with the bolt storm gauntlets and launchers, and of course Merlane over there.
Okay, from the Death Guard side of things, the Jocular Scourge. So over in this corner of the board to start with, we have the nauseous hail defeated bloat drone over there. Just over behind it, we have ourselves the plague crawler, which is known as the inevitable decay rather, it's the plague burst crawler. Meanwhile, back here we have the Heralds of Rust, who are a particular plague marine unit. They've got 1 plasma rifle, and their sergeant here, he is also my courier for this game, a very important point. In front of them here is the Father of Filth, who'll hopefully be doing a lot of damage, I'm really hoping, but being it's the first time I've used this model, chance I will get destroyed in the first turn, that's pretty standard. Moving to the other side of the board, we have the Frothing Saw Plague Marine unit over here.
Great name.
Thank you very much, I tried. They've got a Blight Launcher, they've got a Great Plague Cleaver, just because I think it's hilarious, and they've also got a Plague Spewer amongst them. We've got the Cackling Horde here, 20 different Poxwalkers, and behind them we've also got a fine selection of individual characters. We've got something from Harris Felgong, the Noxious Blightbringer. We've got Lecher Sump Drain, the old Foul Blight Spawn. And finally, we've got Sumptuous Blowtoy, the Noxious Plague Caster. They've got lots of horrible things. And finally, just also supporting them on the side as well, we've also got the one more of the other bloat drones here as well. So between them, that makes up the 2,000 points of the Jocular Scourge.
So we've both nominated a courier. Nick, where's your courier?
My courier is currently over in the corner here. Heralds of Rust. It's currently the sergeant of this particular unit down here with the Pathist. He is my courier. He's also currently sitting on my objective marker, so rather important little unit down here, hence why the Father of Filth here will be back up.
Okay, and my courier is the sergeant in this repulsor, who's also being guarded by the Hellblasters. And my objective is slap bang in the middle, being guarded by the Intercessor squad there. Warzone Morloc, Void Stalkers versus the first Chaos Invasion of the Death Guard. Game 3, let's do it.
Okay, the Heralds of Rust have stayed entirely where they are. Obviously they're holding that objective. The Inevitable Decay, the Plague Burst Crawler, has stayed where it is as well, merely just telling the spot for thematic reasons, because I want to target the hell out of your tank, basically. The Father of Filth has worked its way forward towards this repulsor, because I'd like to be in a nice close range due to your Raven Guard special rule. I don't want to be far away when I'm shooting at you. Meanwhile, over here we have the the Skin Reaper.
Yeah.
My little feated bloat drones deciding to make a suicidal charge towards that particular tank, which will be fun. Its brother, the Nauseous Hail, has moved up to the side here to try and get in range of some of the Inceptors. Meanwhile, there's just been a general surge of infantry here. The Cackling Horde have worked their way forward with the joys of the Noxious Blightbringer behind them with his great big Toxin of Misery bell, which means they can re-roll or roll 2 dice and choose the highest for advanced mode. The Poxwalkers have managed to get nice and far forward. Meanwhile, following up behind them, the Blight Spawn has run as well, as has the Plague Marine squad, the Frothing Saw, and the Psyker himself, what do you call him? Sumptuous Bloat Load, or whatever I've called him. I'll think of his name again in a minute. I've thought of another name for him in a second. But that's it. So movement phase is over, time to shoot. Oh no, psychic phase now, let's see what happens with that. Okay, still turn 1 for the Jocular Scourge. Just to say, at the end of that movement phase, I forgot to mention before, I did a Cloud of Flies stratagem on the Frothing Saw Plague Marine unit down here, which means that they are now surrounded by flies, and they cannot be targeted unless they're the closest enemy unit. So hopefully, the Poxwalkers will be their shield now. Meanwhile, we've just done the psychic phase, which was rather interesting. So the Malignant Plague Caster over here, Sumptuous Bloat Fiend, well, I've got to remember his name in a minute. He's managed to cast 2 separate psychic powers. One of them was Putrescent Vitality, which means that the Poxwalkers have +1 strength and toughness till next turn. He's also cast Smite on the aggressors. He also managed to roll double 6 while doing that, and then a third of the 6, which meant that he not only suffered Perils of the Warp, he suffered D3 wounds, and it turned out to be 3 wounds. Not alright, it's bloody irritating. He's down to 1 wound, and he hasn't even got past the first turn. It's not even your turn.
You did kill an aggressor.
Yeah, the Smite killed one of the aggressors, but unfortunately he managed to suffer 3 wounds in the process, so frankly, I'm really hoping that cuts down the fire coming back my way, otherwise it won't have been worth it. So now onto the shooting phase.
Death Guard, shooting phase, turn 1.
So the Jocular Scourge have had quite a lot of luck with their shooting today. So to start with the Frothing Saw Plague Marine unit over here, have fired a hail of bolter shells and their Blight launch over at the aggressors, and the combined fire has managed to kill another one. The Feated Bloat Drone over here, the Nauseous Hail, has fired both its Plague Spitters and have managed to kill just one of the Inceptors huddled up there. Rather more damage has been done to both repulsor tanks. The Father of Filth over here has done rather well. He's used his thermal cannon. Heavy Stub has done nothing, but the thermal cannon has managed to strip 8 wounds off this repulsor. Is it 8 wounds or is it even...
yeah, it was 16. No, 10 wounds.
Oh, 10 wounds. I do apologise. 10
took.
wounds I took off. However, even that paled in comparison to Inevitable Decay, the Plague Burst crawl over here. Combined fire of its mortar cannon and both entropy cannons on the side of it has managed to strip a whopping 14 wounds off this repulsor tank. That was with the use of a command point at one point, but otherwise the rolling was very, very good. So his command tank with all his very important people in it has currently been stripped from 16 down to 2 wounds, sorry. So that's the end of the shooting phase. Now let's see if we can do any charging at this point. The Jocular Scourge fight phase, so the Skin Reaper over there has stalled forward with its Flesh Mower. It has managed to do a nice hit on the repulsor, but unfortunately Bill has rolled a 5 and saved those last 2 wounds, otherwise it would have blown up beautifully with it basically a lawnmower.
Knowing my luck, it would have blown up and killed everyone inside.
Most likely. The Father of Filth had rather more luck. He managed to charge in, and his Reaper Chainsword managed to do 18 wounds to the already damaged repulsor, so that wasn't even it literally is in several pieces on the floor. Had no one inside it, so no one disembarked, but he's now moved forward to get a little bit closer to those Inceptors. That's the end of the Jocular Scourge, phase 1, on to the Void Stalkers.
What's left of them? Phase turn 1. The Dreadnought has vacated this platform here and moved round to face the night. The Inceptors have arrived from high orbit, 9 inches away from the zombie dudes just here. The aggressors, both of them left, have stood still, getting ready to open up on these bad boys here. The Intercessor squad have moved up through the ruins, along with their lieutenant, looking to avenge their fallen brothers against the flying snotball just there. My repulsor tank, down to 2 wounds only, managed to back away from the flesh mowing flyer there. The squad inside and the sergeant who's just tucked in there is my courier, vacated in case it blows up, as are my Hellblaster squad who've deployed just there, getting ready to get some vengeance against the night. As you can see, my captain and lieutenant are in positions to provide benefits to all, and if they don't get the job done they can charge in, hopefully. Let's see what these boys can do first. Void Stalkers shooting phase. The Inceptors arrived and did very, very poorly against the Poxwalkers. They only took out 2 or 3, I believe. My aggressors did a lot better and took out another couple, so I think they dropped 6 in total. It may have been 2 and 4 taken out by them respectively. My intercessor squad, along with the lieutenant, managed to take this down to 6 wounds. Some good shooting there. My dreadnought, again, didn't do a great deal. Took off some wounds from the knight. With its flamer of all things, the plasma weapon didn't do a great deal.
The heavy flamer did better than anything else, I think.
Absolutely. Lucky to draw sometimes. Come around here. The Hell Blasters managed to fire twice and took off a lot of wounds from the knight, although it's still standing. My lieutenant managed to fire a pistol shot and took off a wound, so that's a victory of the day for me.
I think the whole hail of fire altogether, they stripped down from 24 down to 13 wounds, and the lieutenant fired a single bolt pistol round that took it down to 12 and put it into raspberry mode. So fair play to that lieutenant, he did very, very well.
Yeah, he did very well. He always does well, that lieutenant. He gets a bonus. My 2 intercessor squads here managed to get some rounds off. I think between them took a couple of hull points off. Again, my repulsor managed to draw back and fire at the flesh mower. Didn't do much. And that's my shooting phase, so let's see what we can do in the assault phase. So we're midway through the assault phase, or the fight phase for the Void Stalkers. So my lieutenant charged in to the dreadnought to try and allow my dreadnought and captain to get a clean entry to the combat. Unfortunately, he was burnt to a crisp.
Turned around and literally vaporised.
Just insignificant fly and was dissolved and is now flying around in the wind in the garden of Nurgle. So my dreadnought managed to charge in, made it the full distance, and he swung his power fist and he's taken him down completely.
He's destroyed him.
He's
The father of
absolutely
filth.
smashed him to pieces. So
Oh, in fact, no. Do you know what? I'm not going to move this. I want to roll to see if I get to fucking explode on you. I want to blow you up and
let's
take
do
you
it.
with me.
So on a 6 it'll explode, won't it?
It's, oh, yeah. I want it to be more than a 6. You want it to be better than a 6. I want this thing.
You'll
to
be rolling
blow up.
6s all day, mate.
Ah!
Get off my board. Get out, go on. Cheerio. Update soon for the rest of the fight phase.
The father of filth may have died a disgraceful and not that impressive death, but meanwhile, using just a giant piece of gardening equipment, that fitted bloke drone in its flesh mower has just carved through the front of the repulsor.
Where is it?
Where
is it?
It's not there anymore.
It's gone.
Because it's been shredded in the garden furniture or whatever it is. Yeah, it's dead, it's gone, that's the end of that. So in the one turn, we've managed to kill 2 repulsor tanks and a knight. That's pretty devastating, actually.
Should we see what turn 2 looks like?
Let's see what happens. Turn 2, Jocular Scourge. Jocular Scourge, movement phase, turn 2. So my Lord Primaris Space has finally arrived by teleport, along with his contingent with the Vile Coven, the Death Shroud. He's landed just over there, so hopefully they're threatened. So from behind the Terminators and the Inceptors. The just a little bit closer to us here, the the Foul Blight Spawn has moved up with the intent of hopefully using his hose and basically spraying a bunch of horrible slime in the direction of the Inceptors, because why
Using what?
Let's not go into it too much.
Okay.
Apparently, one of his best moves is that he has a foul stench. That's literally what he does. The Poxwalkers have pushed up and are hopefully going to cause a serious problem over there towards the charming little aggressors, just to try and tie them up a little bit further. Meanwhile, the Plague Marines, the Noxious Blight Spawn, and the Malignant Plague Caster, so many interesting names, have all pushed forward with the intention of threatening that Inceptor unit down. Over on the left-hand side of the board, you've got 2 Fleeted Bloat drones. One of them, the one with the Flesh Mower, has moved up to try and threaten the Intercessor squad that has Bill's Courier in it. So obviously that's something I definitely need to try and kill. After his massive success with his gardening equipment against the Repulsor, and the other Fleeted Bloat drone is just pushing towards the other Intercessor squad down here with its Plague Spitters. So hopefully there'll be lots to do. Oh, and finally, in the far corner as well, we've got one of the Plague Marines with his plasma gun just for a cheeky shot over towards the Dreadnought, and the Plague Burst Crawler has moved up to try and get its entry cannons aimed towards the Dreadnought as well, because that's a serious concern of mine right now, especially as this has got so much to be held in. That's the end of the movement phase. So, just to do the psychic phase, my malignant plague caster has managed not to suffer any more wounds of his own, which is nice. He's managed to cast putrescent vitality, adding 1+ strength and 1+ toughness to the pox walkers, because I'm hoping they're going to try and charge the aggressors in a minute and see what that does. He's also gone and used blades of putrefaction on the frothing saw plague marines, down here, so it's going to improve their ability in close combat. Basically because I want to charge Bill and wipe him out. That's pretty much the idea. Start of the shooting phase for the Jocular Scourge. Had an awful lot of lucky rolling, as so often seems to happen. The Plague Burst Crawler has managed to take off 5 wounds off of old Dreadnought Merlane over there, followed by the Plasma Gun held by just a single Plague Marine over in the corner here, has hit on overcharge, has wounded, and has therefore done 2 more wounds. So he's gone from 12 wounds down to 5 wounds just from the 2 of them, which is fantastic. We're now going to do the what's he called? He's called the Foul Blight Spawn. I want to see what happens. Never used him before. He is over here aiming at these the Inceptors rather, and his weapon is an Assault D6 and it's automatic hit. So let's see what happens. So Assault D6, 2 hits. Not what I want to see. And on those, it's the strength is 2d6. So strength 6.
Okay.
Not too shabby, so that's going to be a 3 pluses to wound.
So there's toughness 5, but doesn't really do them any favours here,
Not
does
really.
it?
3 plus to wound. 2 wounds. And it's their armor save -3. And 3 damage each.
Okay, let's
So
do this.
6 plus saves.
Yeah, that's
3.
about how my day's gone so far.
These 2? 3 wounds each.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, why not? Go on. Cheerio, lads. Thanks for coming.
Continuing the shooting phase from the Jocular Scourge. The Frothing Saw, this Plague Marine unit, I'm going to use 1 command point and use the Blight Bombardment, which means that every single model of the 7 models in a unit can throw a Blight Grenade rather than just one. They're basically frag grenades, however they have the advantage of being plague weapons. And that means 7d6 number of hits. So let's just have a little dice roll and see how we do here. Not quite what I was hoping for, but we're not too bad so far. So I'm going to have this many saves in just a moment. Right, it's going 19 5 pluses to wound, but I can re-roll 1, so here we go. Oh no!
Spilt dice.
Spill dice! Plague weapons, we re-roll 1s. Nice. So we have 6 wounds for Bill to try and save. 6 rolls of 3 pluses.
So we do it.
1 dead. And the final bit of shooting for the Jocular Scourge this turn, the defeated Bloat Drone fired its 2 Plague Spitters at the Hellblasters. I had high hopes for this, however, yet again, as he did last turn, at this time I've rolled a double 1 for 2d6 worth of shots, and he's managed to strip just 1 wound from one of the Hellblasters, which is not that impressive. So he has done not very much so far, so that's the end of the shooting phase, on to the combat phase, which I'm hoping will be slightly more successful. So Jocular Scourge combat phase, the charging is about as good as I could possibly have hoped it could be. So first of all, the Frothing Saw Plague Marines right there have managed to get their charge range and they've charged into this Interceptor squad. The Malignant Plague Caster, the Psycho at the back, has failed to keep up. However, the Noxious Blightbringer with his huge bell in the back has managed to keep up and he's charged in as well.
Huge bell.
Fantastic. He's mad. Huge bell. The Pox Walkers didn't have much to charge, so they didn't even really need to do much, but they've managed to charge in. I think they've managed to get 2 of their number mown down by a lot of bolter and grenade fire as they've charged in, but there's still plenty of them in there. So hoping that's going to be the aggressors tied up now. Honestly,
This guy.
the Foul Blight Spawn, he's already making a fine name for himself. Having wiped out 2 of the Inceptors already, he's managed to get a massive charge range and has managed to get into close combat. Meanwhile, beyond the Death Shroud and the boss individually, the Lord Tumorous Pussfather, all of them together have all managed to get ridiculous charge ranges and have all gone into combat with Merlane, their Dreadnought, which is fantastic. Finally, it wasn't much of a charge range, but the Fleshmire, the gardening equipment, has got into combat here with the Intercessor squad that holds Bill's courier, and the other drone, which has failed so miserably to do anything from a distance, has managed to get into the Hellblasters. So now we're going to have a lot of combats to resolve. This could be fun. So this fantastic combat between my Lord Tumorous Pussfather, the Death Shroud, and Merlane, the Dreadnought, will now commence. My captain's got 4 attacks plus 1 because he's so concerned about the Death Trap bodyguard watching him being Mortarian's eyes and ears. So he's got 5, 2 pluses to hit. All hit.
Oh, I'm insane.
5 pluses to wound, re-rolling 1s.
Unreal.
Yeah, that's what I like to see. Right, with Mullane having only 5 lives left, he's been hit 4 times and wounded 4 times with the scythe. Therefore, you are currently going to need at least 3 6s out of 4 dice to survive. Otherwise, Mullane is gone. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, watch this dice roll. Ah.
That's only 12 wounds, it's fine. Boom!
See you around. I explode on a 6.
No! Very not.
Cheerio. Not again.
Horde of 11 Poxwalkers now going to make their attacks against the aggressors. Because there's more than 10 in a unit, they get to add 1 to their hit rolls, so rather than 5 plus to hit, it's 4 plus to hit. So here we go, 11 4 pluses to hit. That is some really bad dice rolling. That was terrible, so out of that, we've now got 2 5 pluses to wound. What could possibly go wrong? 1 wound.
Alright. This is how we do an armour save. Boom.
Alright, the Frothing Saw Plague Marines have gone in and done their attacks. The Plague Cleaver has managed to connect with a giant overhead swing with one of the Marines. And Bill has rolled a 6 for an armour save, and apparently it's just pinged off his armour, despite being it should have cut him in half.
We do not fade.
So I hear. The Noxious Blightbringer has had just about as much luck as he had, getting 2 hits, but neither one's penetrated armour. So far, I think just 1 wound has been caused by the Plague Champion's Power Fist against one of the Marines, so not a very good combat there. But just about as good with the Poxwalkers as well, just over beside them. They've had multiple hits on the aggressors, but not a single one has managed to penetrate their armour, so all are completely unscathed after the 11 attacks. The Foul Blight spawn over there has attacked the Intercessor. I'm realising a little more, having used this model now for the first time, he's probably not a unit designed for close combat, but it's still hilarious, so that's fine. Far more interestingly, obviously as you've already seen, after my Lord has killed the Dreadnought over there, we've now got the Plague Drone over here, the Fetid Blight Drone. Fetid Blight Drone, I've got to get the names right. There's so many weird names in Nurgle. This guy has managed to attack the Hellblasters and once again done absolutely nothing. He's been a pretty useless model this turn. However, we now have the gardening equipment, the Flesh Mower, against the Intercessor Squad. This Flesh Mower has the potential to end this game. There's the 5-man Intercessor Squad. If he does enough damage and kills the Courier, that'll be it.
And the Courier is our wee boy there, the skipper. Let's see what happens.
Right, 4 pluses to hit, 9 hits. That is a
damn
6 1s. Are you for real?
So he's rolled to wound, 2 pluses to wound, and he's wounded.
And now it's your armour saves, 3 5 plus saves, and each one you don't roll is a death because it's 2 damage each. 2 dead.
So just to show you what we did in retaliation for the assault, I'm going to rage quit 40k because the aggressors used their gauntlets to try and punch some useless zombies to death, but they just made the disgustingly resilient rolls, all of them.
So 3 power fist strikes.
3 power fist punches done nothing, and they've punched titans to the floor. Do you know what I mean? It's anyway, and over here, he got a punch in, didn't do anything, and got a big spray of pus in his face for his trouble, and took a mortal wound.
Yeah,
so that was delightful over on that side.
Yes.
And that's about it for this phase.
No, we're not done yet. There is more. You've got to be able to retaliate against these guys, and you've got to be able to fight my Plague Marines. So don't worry, there is still a chance to hurt something, just probably not much.
Yeah, watch this. My rage quit continues as all my squads retaliate with gentle palms, pillows, and
terrors of the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, they just threw sausages and cakes at them, and there was nothing I could do.
Primaris cakes.
Primaris cakes. So that's the end of the turn.
And on to Void Stalkers turn 2.
Okay, Void Stalkers movement phase. Not a lot I could do, to be honest, because of the amount that's tied up. So obviously they're tied into combat, didn't fancy breaking away there because I want to hold them back from my objective marker over there. They're holding the gate shut there. My lieutenants just stepped down to try and give benefits to both that squad there and that squad there in terms of re-rolling, because I think they're going to feel the pain imminently. My Inceptor's tied up, It's keeping him and the other guy tied up as well, so not really an issue there. Just come around this side. The squad that was about to face Lawnmower of Death have broken off and legged it up here to try and get away from the mower, realising that the game's in jeopardy if my sergeant there dies. They've just consolidated into a position where they can all fight, and my captain, along with this squad here, are getting ready, probably, to die. Void Stalkers shooting phase turn 2. They did their best, but absolutely did nothing. The captain's rounds pinged off the armour of the Death Shroud there. This squad shot everything they could to no effect. This lot couldn't shoot anything because they broke off from combat and legged it. The Hellblasters tried to shoot the whatever this is.
The defeated bloke drone.
Defeated bloke drone with their pistols to no effect. Even the lieutenant had a pop over there, but couldn't hit a barn door with a baseball bat. And this lot fired and hit finally with some bolt pistol shots, but due to the high toughness of the Death Guard, had no effect. So nothing died in the shoot phase.
Just slightly more attractive holes in their body.
Yeah, just some delicious holes oozing piss. Cheers. Anyway, here comes the assault phase. The captain charged the Lord there, managed to punch him down to 2 wounds with his fist, which was good work. But then in return, he got himself down to 3 with the return strikes. Over here we took out a few more Poxwalkers, very little effect going on there. We took out 1 Plague Marine, which I'm very happy with considering it was just pistol fire, and lost none in return. Over here there was pistol fire towards the fetid bloke drone, again no effect. Blight Spawn, apologies. And that's it, so this will be turn 3, Death Guard.
Jocular Scourge, movement phase 3. So the Plague Burst Crawler has sort of chundled its way around the corner here to get itself into a line of sight with some of the intercessors over here. The Foul Blight Spawn has managed an exceptional run. He's basically managed to get his swaying belly in check and has run all the way over to here, so trying to pretty much give himself as a target for next turn. The Death Shroud are pretty much waiting for the opportunity to charge in to join their commander in combat. Meanwhile, the Malignant Plague Caster over here has got himself round away from the combat a little bit to try and have a little bit of line of sight through there potentially. The last of the Plague Marines have moved up into combat. Over here the Poxwalkers are of course staying where they are as they are locked in combat. And finally my moving farming equipment has made its way following the fleeing unit with the courier because there's no way I'm letting them get away. That flesh mower has got their name written all over it, or bits of them anyway, bits of their colleague are still dripping from it. So, psychic phase rather, Jocular Scourge, turn 3. Right, so we're going again, so the psychic phase, so Sumptuous Bloatoid, my Malignant Plague Caster, he's going to do exactly the same as he's been doing before because it seems to be working alright so far. So Putrescent Vitality, he's going to cast on the Poxwalkers to try and give them a higher strength and toughness. That's a value of 6. No!
What is it?
It failed.
Nah.
And he's now going to try and cast Blades of Putrefaction on the Plague Marines over here. Let's see if I can not roll off the board this time. 1 dice and love it, so he's got it, fantastic. Right, the Plague Burst Crawler is firing. It's got its massive mortar. It's firing over the Intercessor squad over here because it doesn't like the look of them, frankly. Heavy D6, let's see how many shots it gets me. That's not what I wanted to see, no. 2 shots. 5+ to hit because it's moved. Oh, that's not very good at all.
That's terrible.
Need better than that. It's got 2 entropy cannons on the side, 5+ to hit. 1 hit. 2+ to wound, strength 8. That's what I like to see, and 1 armor save for Bill. I think it's -4, so I think it's still dead. It was a good roll though.
Alright.
Shooting was pretty minor for the 3rd round of the Jocular Scourge. The Plague Burst Crawler managed to have a pretty poor round of firing considering how good it's been the rest of the turns. They did take out 1 Intercessor in the squad just here. Meanwhile, the Plasma Pistol of the Noxious Blightbringer in combat was fired nice and close up. I decided not to overcharge it, and I'm rather pleased that's the case. I then rolled a 1 to hit, so fortunately he lives to fight another day.
Damn it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's all I can fire, so onto the charge phase. So now the first bit of the charging phase to be resolved. The Death Shroud have charged in with their Man Reaper sides, which they're now going to use. They've got 10 attacks between them, so 3 pluses to hit on that nice captain. Looking good to start with. So now some 3 pluses to wound.
Ah, dude.
Reroll 1s for a plague weapon.
That's it, isn't it?
5 hits. Right, you've now got 5 armor saves. If you fail at least 2 of these, you've definitely died. You've got 3+ invulnerable saves. Here we go. Definitely 1 fail.
Done it. Because of the armour indomitable.
But I've still got D3 wounds to inflict on you.
No, okay, that's
If I roll a 3 or a 4, a 5 or a 6, you're dead. He did!
See you around, Sagan. You useless captain. Potential game-ending sequence here as Lawnmower of Death prepares to run over the 3 intercessors here, one of which is, of course, the courier.
Carrying the vital thing. Right, we got 4 pluses to hit.
Let's have a look.
9 4 pluses to hit. Oh, not good. Hit. Oh, only 3 in all of that. That's the wound. Reroll plague weapon maybe? Fleshmer, plague weapon, reroll. Yes! Game deciding time. He has got 3 5+ saves to make. He needs to make at least 1 to save the courier. If you do not make 1 5+ save, this game is over and the Lawnmower of Death has made its move.
Feel the power.
Oh, he's alive! The
Yeah!
courier survives!
Gotta deliver the post.
Unbelievable. The Lawnmower of Death strikes once more, but not enough.
Not on this. We do not fade.
So the combat phase for the Jocular Scourge, we've had nothing very much again from my guys this end of the table. Neither the Noxious Lightbringer nor the Frothing Squad have done a thing. Instead, the Intercessors managed to kill 1 Plague Marine in return.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the aggressors, with all their punchy madness, have still managed to fail to kill anyone in that combat, receiving 1 wound in return from a particularly agitated Poxwalker. One of them managed to jab one of them in the eye, I think.
Wear a helmet.
Exactly, should have worn a helmet. Obviously, we've already seen the combat over here, haven't we?
Yeah, we've seen that one.
Obviously, the Commander got himself killed, and the Warlord is dead, and they've moved up towards the Intercessors. And obviously, we've had the Fleshmer work its way through Intercessors over there. Now, it's a pretty tight game at this point. So, it's the end of Jocular Scourge turn 3, now on to Void Stalkers turn 3.
Void Stalkers movement, turn 3. All that's moved is my lieutenant has effectively swapped places with my courier to try and spare his pitiful life before he gets mown down by Lawnmower of Death. They're still holding their objective. They're just going to wait for the inevitable coming from the big boys there. I've got no hope of getting over there, so it's a abort mission on that. Thanks to my raspberry repulsors. And that's it. So let's see what happens in the probably very minimal shooting phase. Stalkers shooting turn 2, pitiful as normal. So this lot double fired into the Death Shroud Terminators, doing 1 wound to the guy, the chap at the back there. No bug. Over here they shot their pistols into the fetid bloke drone.
Correct.
Didn't do anything?
No.
No, of course not. Up here, little to no effect again. The shooting has been dismal. The lieutenant had a pop shot. Again, useless. So let's see what happens. All in all, terrible shooting around from stuff. Because all my good guns are dead. So, fighting phase.
Right, in the combat phase, so we've had the lieutenant very bravely ran towards the gardening equipment and was probably
He ran straight into it.
He literally ran directly and threw himself onto the lawnmower.
If you've ever seen the film The Happening, it's the bit where he lays down and just gets eaten by the lawnmower.
That's pretty much what happened, I think, at this point. Nothing happened. Oh no, I lie. Sorry, no. The plague probes of the other bloke drone did nothing. However, they did manage to take 2 wounds off him in return, and that's led him to be slightly raspberried now. So he now is flying a bit strangely. 2 of the intercessors over here were killed. One by the plague marines and one by the noxious blightbringer, which was nice to see. However, the remaining sergeant has passed his morale check, so he's fine.
I don't think he's going to do very well there.
I think things aren't looking too good for him. Meanwhile, the Poxwalker melee continues unabated. The power fists of the aggressors took out a couple of wounds, and once again the disgustingly resilient rolls were exceptional, and the Poxwalkers just kept on smiling and just took it.
Carl!
Exactly. So in the meantime, the Poxwalkers tried to strike back but did absolutely nothing, so that just remained to lock combat. I think those aggressors have been horribly tied up.
Yeah, that's a big mistake on my part. Lessons have been learned.
Lessons will be learned for next time for both of us, I think. And I think that remains the end of the combat, so at this point is now Jocular Scourge turn 4. I'm hoping this is going to be the movement that ends the game in Jocular Scourge movement turn 4. The giant thresher has now approached once more the courier and has now got him trapped against the rock face. This could be like the end of every bad horror film ever.
Just gonna...
Look at yeah, there ain't no...
Oh god! Oh god! We're cracking up laughing. Back into it.
It was too funny, the whole corn thresher thing with the poor old courier. But anyway, the Death Shroud have charged forward along with the Lord. The corn thresher may not even need to get involved as the foul blight spawn has turned his hose's dirty attention towards the courier as well. Things are basically not looking all that good for the courier.
Hose.
The dirty hose, so to speak. It's not a metaphor. The Malignant Plaguecaster is staying exactly where he is, frankly, for the time being, because no one else needs to move over here, really. Everyone's just surrounded the champion up on the side there.
And in the forgotten corner...
These guys are still quite happily holding the objective and are going to stay there for the time being, because realistically they're doing a fine job.
They're all playing games on their phones, just chilling out. There's nothing really for them to do. Sweet.
Happy days, now onto the shooting phase. So, the feated bloke drone has managed to use its plague spitters to acidly burn 2 more intercessors from the map. Hellblasters, that leave 1 Hellblaster alive.
Yeah.
The Plague Burst Crawler in my shooting phase has put a hail of fire down, and in doing so has managed to kill 1 single intercessor and has wounded 1 more. Not very impressive, but he's done. I think he did his duty in the early stages of the game against that repulsor tank. And now we're moving on. Do you know, I'm going to admit to the viewers, I actually forgot to do a psychic phase. Mostly because I don't know if it's going to necessarily be needed. The Foul Blight Spawn is now going to use, as Bill so nicely put it, his dirty hose against the courier.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong? Let me just have a look. It's Assault D6, a D6 number of hits. 5. Of course. That's 5 hits. The strength now, it's 2D strength 2D6. Strength 7. Okay, so 5 hits at strength 7, so that's 3 plus to wound.
Do it.
And it's a plague weapon, so of course you can re-roll the ones.
Roll that one.
So that's a 3 plus to wound, no. So we got 3 wounds. There is -3 damage, and it's 3 damage each time. I think you need to get 3 6s, or the game is over.
Yeah, watch how I roll 6s.
The courier just got melted. He didn't even get to get mown down by the chainsword. He just got melted.
The funny little mower didn't get to blend up my sergeant.
Instead, he just got melted by a dirty hose.
He got hosed down by the dirty hose of this smelly marine who's ruined it for everyone.
So, being that was Bill's courier, that is immediately the end of the game, I believe. So, at the end of this game, it's the objectives. Neither of us actually lost an objective. We both held them right until the end.
This objective was never going to get touched.
Not really. I must admit, the old rusted guys down there doing very well.
My intercessor squad managed to hold on to this one, but I think they were facing the impending doom here.
Of the Death Shroud.
The Death Shroud against
Things
intercessors.
probably weren't looking too good for them with the Man Reaper scythes coming their way.
If the poor courier couldn't get away from the lawnmower, then no one could. It was a noble effort, but he ran for his life like a coward and died like a coward.
A fine specimen of the Void Stalkers. So at the end of my turn 4, or during my turn 4, that is the end of the game. So that is the end of Jocular Scourge versus Void Stalkers. Thanks very much for watching.
His blood pumped in his ears as the boots of his Mark 10 armor beat a rhythm across the uneven ground. His enhanced organs worked to regulate his breathing as the roar of battle filled his ears. And always the whine of the giant spinning blades on the front of that cursed machine. It followed him and seemed to close the distance, the demonic engine drifting silently across the blood-soaked earth, the only sound from it the din of its weapon. He had to get to the long-ranged comms gear. He had to let the other Void Stalkers know the traitor's identity. It could change the tide of this war. He reached the comms array as the bloat drone turned the corner behind him. His attention focused on the I-cord dripping down its sides as he raised the communicator to his ear. But suddenly a smell hit him like a punch in the gut. Even his genetically enhanced senses couldn't filter out the stench of filth as a fat Death Guard warrior turned the corner beside him, waddling in its armor as a foul liquid seemed to slosh around in the tank on its bank. Through gritted teeth he began to speak into the communicator as the Death Guard warrior raised something towards him. Was that a hose? Lepcha Subdrain lowered his sprayer as he observed the steaming green puddle that used to be the Astartes. Chuckling to himself as he always did, he made a mental note to alter the latest batch of slurried filth in his tank to improve its potency. With the Void Stalker and his communication gear still dissolving, Subdrain waddled off to find another test subject.